Welcome to the War Room Pandemic. We have a special episode today. This is our Saturday specials concerning China, Voices from China. This is episode 287 in Saturday, July 18th, year of our Lord 2020. Today's episode titled Fighting Back, America's Global Takedown of the CCP. First, we'd like to thank our production partners, America's Voice News on Dish 219, Newsmax TV at night, John Frederick's Radio Network, Chicago FM 103.9, and blown through the CCP firewall, translated into Mandarin for the Chinese people by G News. Steve, over to you.
Jack, thanks for introducing and thanks for manning the War Room today. Given the historic couple of weeks, in particular the way it built to a really crescendo with Mike Pompeo and Attorney General Barr, we're going to do a special on America actually fighting back for the first time, this kind of coalition that's been put together to really take down the CCP. I mean, it's more than just confront it. It's more than just contain it. If you really look at, Jack, what's going on, this is a broad-based coalition of the Alliance of Liberty, from India to Japan to Australia, the littoral nations around the South China Sea, the EU, the United Kingdom, Brazil, Latin America, and of course the United States and Canada. But I think, and I've got my colleague here, my sidekick, Miles Guo, is going to help us today to go through that. We're going to take both a global strategic view, and then we're going to flip in the second hour and take the view as the CCP sees it, of what's actually going on in China. But there's so much breaking news overnight and throughout the day after we left the broadcast yesterday. I wanted to start this because, as you know, one of the aspects of the show that we try to do is the deplorables in the United States and Lao Beijing, old 100 names in China, which are the vast majority of the 1.4 billion Chinese people. What we're seeing, Jack, as you and I talked about on the show yesterday and Thursday, is this really horrific flood. I mean, it's more than once in a century, maybe once in 1,000 years, in the Yangtze River that's come up, that's going to have a dramatic impact on the United States about supply chains, and particularly medical supply chains, which I know you'll get into in a second. But I want to tee up with Miles, who really understands, I think, China as well as anybody, and has been such a great person to explain China and explain the difference between the CCP, the PLA, Lao Beijing, and the basic hardworking, decent people of China. So, Miles, we're going to talk strategy later, but I really first want to get into, can you tell people what is going on with this flood? What's the Yangtze River? Set the stage for us. What's the area like? How important to China? How essential to Chinese history? What is this flood, the Himalaya Mountains and Three Gorges? Can you walk us through everything?
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everybody. So that's a very important question, sir. You know, in China, there's 5,000 years of history. All the Chinese have every 4 years, 20 years, 100 years, big challenger from the flood. This is the flood because, you know, China is the east side have a high Himalaya.
The Himalaya Mountains.
Himalaya Mountains give all the Asia 80% of what clearly can use the water. Okay?
So all of Asia, 80% basically comes from those massive mountains in the Himalayas.
Yes. And this is the Yangtze River and the Yellow River. This is China's two is the river is to keep China have the water can drink, can use. So this every time the Yangtze River, you know, have any problem, it's the huge. It's kill, you know, sometimes 10% Chinese, 5% Chinese, sometimes 40% Chinese. I want you to know, sir. In the Yangtze River and the east side go to north side, north go to Shanghai, Nanjing, and Hubei in the Wuhan, the coronavirus from the province, Hubei and Guangxi and Sichuan. This area, they provide all the Chinese 55% the agricultural, any food.
So the Yangtze River, as you're going down there, you're saying inside that floodplain or inside that kind of river valley, 50% of all the food in China is basically made in that valley.
Yes, sir.
Produced.
Yeah, sometimes maybe more.
Sometimes maybe more.
Okay. It's the provide 65% called fish. not the seafood, the fish, river fish.
From the river, right?
Got all the China, 65%. So they provide all the China is a GDP, always 50%, sometimes 50%.
Half to 60% of the entire GDP of the country also comes from this region?
Yes. Also, there the area is always have 350 million, people living there.
So of the 1.4 billion, about 350, 400 million live there.
Same one America there. Okay.
The size of America, population.
Yeah, population. They as China university, high education people, nearly 40%, and 35% is from this area.
Wow, 40% of your college students are people that go to college.
Yes, so that's why is that this for the Chinese, for we are country, that's hugely important. So the CCP is different. They built 3 grand. This is the dam.
The Three Gorges Dam.
Three Gorges Dam.
Why was that? You saying that was stupid to build?
It's the CCP have philosophy: fight culture, fight the nature, fight God, fight to earth, fight to people. That's their goals. They are they enjoy here. Chinese philosophy. You cannot fight the God. You cannot fight the nature power. You cannot every day fight to people. They say, oh, we are, everything from the guns. We can fight, kill God.
They said since all power comes from a barrel of a gun, we can fight God. And you're saying, and these things they did to the environment was their disregarding of any recognition of God.
Yes.
That they were all powerful as humans.
Yes, sir. So for China, all the history, no suicide, no agriculture. They are just, it's the hunters.
Hunting, right.
So go to the Yellow River, to Yangtze River, is all the agriculture, very hard work, good education. This is really Chinese history, civilized founder. No society very rude, okay? So now it's the very, very bad. CCP coming to America, China. They control all the China. Every year, they need to find out some of the, called country nationality project. They don't care. It's no sense, no logical. They don't think about how can broken the natural global warming. They no idea. This is all the farmer, very rude criminal mafia guy. They just try move your eye, focus one project. Send the people go in their work, give you food. They call GTP. Okay.
So you're saying these projects were done to keep the population focused on how great we are as a political party, how great we are as leaders. We do these huge projects, whether they made any sense or not.
Yeah.
Like collectivization on the farms, the mass great leap forward, the mass industrialization. You say that the Three Gorges Dam was like that also?
Yeah. That's 100% is this from the CCP ideology. There's a white cultural revolution. They will kill for old, kill your loyalty, kill your family relationship, kill your education and link the history, and kill your trust the morals. There's no honest, no morals, no truth, and kill. These are all the old, also the religion. Kill the God, kill the Christian, kill the Jesus. This is called for old kill. Then they think, oh, we can do everything. We can challenge the God, we can challenge the nature, we can control the God, we can control the river. This student, they can think GTP is number one important. They are just corruption. They can make the project 100 billion is before, it's 1983 to 1995. So this is the Prime Minister Li Peng, it's a Tiananmen Square, they kill the people, that guy make the decision with Deng Xiaoping. So this guy is from the called Huanghe University, just for the how can defense the fallout. So he want to build one bigger project. So all the people can look at me. I'm in the history. I built a super project. I don't know my name. That's crazy. It's service. All the politician decision. Then they don't know. It's the Three Gorges of the Dam. There they built the one. I give you example, sir. Today, example of the river is called 1 minute, 1 second. 360,000 how can I say 立方米怎么说
Gallons?
Gallons.
Yes.
Okay, one second. But even this is broken. How how big, sir? 3.6 million gallons. 1 second. Then it's the Himalaya here. It's the high here. Guangxi, Chongqing, Hubei, Wuhan here. Coronavirus. And Shanghai here.
You're saying it comes all the way down to a valley, to a flat.
Yeah, same the one is about the one.
Right.
Yeah. Then here 350 million people, maybe all the kill, maybe 50% kill. Here, 50% agricultural food, breaking all the China. Also the fish and the education and the university.
So you say
also Jack Ma is from here. Jack Ma is control all the world number one called
Jack Ma of Alibaba.
Data, Alibaba. The data called iCloud data.
iCloud.
American or the Apple is the data you put there. I hope nothing happen. So Jack Ma here, Baidu from here, Baidu, Shanghai, and China is the top 100 huge company, maybe 60-70% from here.
Tell us about the river. I'm going to go back to this. It comes down from the Himalayas all the way through. You're saying this river is central to Chinese history. It's central to Chinese agriculture. It is central to Chinese business. 350 million people, as big as the population of the United States of America, lives within this. Give us up to date now. G News has been able to give us, and we have up on AVN as you're watching in the background. Jack, make sure you jump in and let me know when we got a pop. But we've got footage running right now of all the great footage that the citizen journalists that are part of GTV and G News have sent. These videos of this water is mind-boggling to people. They've never seen anything like it. It's just a wall of water, but it's every day. Are the rains continuing? Why are the rains so intense this time than they haven't been in 100 years?
This is China, the China every called 100 years must be and follow to the disaster come back. This is all the China history. So you look at China is this area. Now every day is raining. So the raining is make the disaster, nobody knows. So the raining nobody can control, right? But you look here in the Chongqing, inside central area, and the Hubei, Enshi, this huge big city, same as Manhattan is big, is the area. Also Wuhan, in the central area is the water come to the city. It covers all the cars.
It covers all the cars in a city the size of New York.
Also antique temple, 1,000 years it's the temples, and many people dies. Nobody know the truth. Last night I called Beijing, my friend. I said, how many people died? I think 100,000. He said, more than 500,000 people died.
They think he's saying he believes that 500,000 people died.
Gentlemen, we have 1 minute left.
Yeah. Jack, why don't you go ahead and take us out? I want to get people up on hashtag War Room Pandemic. I got a big announcement when we come back about tomorrow. But Jack, why don't you get everybody up on our platforms, take us out, and we'll see you in a second.
Okay, guys, listen, we've got to take some commercials here in a moment, but I want everybody to follow us on hashtag War Room Pandemic. Check us out on the podcast. We're everywhere. Please sign up for the newsletter as well. And we are going to be leaving here in just a moment. Also, I want everybody to pay attention because this Wuhan flood is very important. The Yangtze River, 80% of the pharmaceuticals, 80% of the chemical production is south of the Three Gorges Dam. Okay, we'll be back in just a minute.
War Room with Stephen K. Bannon. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
This is Jack Maxey in the War Room. Welcome back. It's Saturday, July 18th, year of our Lord 2020, one of our special Saturday episodes, Fighting Back, America's global takedown of the CCP. Over to you, Steve.
Yeah, I can't believe, Jack, we're already this far through July. It's just ripping through now. Look, we're living in turbulent times, and if you're a audience member of War Room Pandemic, or you just started following us, you understand we deal with the pandemic, the economic crisis on top of it, the financial crisis that triggered. So we try to do this in the context of the geopolitical struggle between the Chinese Communist Party, its own people in the United States, and the rest of what we call the arsenal of democracy. In these turbulent times, it's going to be entrepreneurs that lead us through. And if you're an entrepreneur, you need every tool in the toolbox. The tool you need is NetSuite by Oracle. Today, go to netsuite.com/Bannon, Bannon, and get your 7 action steps that every entrepreneur should be taking. Jack, back to you. We're going to say this show today is about the takedown, the United States finally standing up as a whole of government approach to the Chinese Communist Party as outlined by the leaders really of the war cabinet. That would be Secretary of State Pompeo, National Security Advisor O'Brien, FBI Director Wray, but particularly Bill Barr in his tremendous speech the other day. We're going to talk about that war plan, and we're going to talk about the economic, the technological, the information war that's going on, and preparations really to do peace through strength to show the Chinese Communist Party in the South China Sea and on the border of occupied Tibet, where the Indian Army under President Modi is standing up to the CCP. We're going to get to all that. But Jack, the first thing we have to deal with is this tremendous crisis that's building in central China. And no, it's not a pandemic. Believe it or not, something worse than the swine flu, something worse than the CCP COVID-19 virus is actually now coming out of central China, and that is this horrific flood that is now occurring on the Yangtze River up above the Three Gorges Dam and is threatening the entire cities below it. The reason it has a direct implication on your life is that much of the supply chain of the American and world economy is located in this floodplain. In addition, much of the medical equipment and the personal protective equipment, all of it. And we're going to get into the whole aspect of Lao Beijing, these the decent, hardworking people of China, that now they're threatened again. Jack, I know you've got a lot of observations. You've been our guy in the pandemic since December 26th of 2019. You were the first one to bring to my attention and said, hey, I think there's going to be a game changer happening in these rains above the Three Gorges Dam. Can you give us some of your insights, and I'll turn it back to Miles Guo to give us his very specific understanding of this area.
Well, we've talked throughout this entire time about the disruption of the supply chains because of the COVID virus. And now what we're seeing is that it's not just something like a virus that could cut the supply chain. We have 80% of the world's pharmaceuticals produced downstream from the Three Gorges Dam. And this has a critical impact on the entire globe. We're already having problems with PPE delivery to the United States. One of the largest distributors in the country is quoted this morning as saying that looks like they're looking at 2 to 3 weeks to get any supplies out of China. So it's even having an impact on how we fight the COVID virus around the world. But more importantly, as Miles said, you've got 50% of the food production is also along the Yangtze River floodplain. Now, one of the things that we have been looking at, and even China's global news is reporting on this, that they may have lost complete control of their attempt to get their arms around the African swine flu virus too, which led to them culling 50% of the Chinese pig crop last year. Now, you combine this with the fact that they may have another outbreak of that. You combine this with the fact that they reported yesterday that year over year, food inflation in China is gone up by 11%. This is a crushing number. So, and this is a number they're admitting to. So it's something that we really should pay attention to. And any of our viewers, I highly recommend that you just put up the AccuWeather satellite image of China so you can watch these rains coming across the Himalayas. And you'll see basically from the border of Nepal all the way to the Three Gorges Dam is the drainage system for the Yangtze River north of the Three Gorges Dam. Now, we're already having massive flowing south of the dam, and now we're getting massive rain north of the dam. So there's a lot of question as to whether or not the dam can even withstand this. We've watched over the last several weeks, they've changed the way they described the dam. A year ago, it was a 1,000-year dam. Now it's a 100-year dam. And just a few days ago, the Chinese government put out a statement saying that the Yangtze, the Three Gorges Dam is doing everything that it can and everything that it was expected to do, but sort of leaving open the fact that it might not be able to do more. There's a Chinese geologist named Fan Zhao who's been a long critic of the CCP building these dams all over the country. And he's saying that it's really impossible for the Three Gorges Dam to have any effect south of the dam. It can only retain about 8 or 9% of the floodwaters in any given year anyway. And this looks like it is a historic flood. We should all be putting our hands together in prayer for the Chinese people, but also this should be a big wake-up call for the entire world concerning our supply chains.
You know, there's so much in there, Jack. Let me say a couple of things. Number one, Rosemary Gibson came on the show back in January. Rosemary Gibson was the author of China RX and saying how the big pharmaceutical companies basically shipped all the API, which is called active pharmaceutical ingredients, over to be made in China under the in CCP-owned companies. And right now, one of the big questions, as you just said, 80% of the PPE and 80% of the drugs, the generic drugs and the API, are all made within this area that could potentially be flooded. And to date, we have not forced those supply chains back. There's another issue that people are going to have to understand. It's more than just about cost. The United States, by the way, China needs its own manufacturing of generics and needs its own manufacturing API, just like the United States needs theirs, India needs theirs, Europe needs theirs. This is something that countries and something this central have to do. The other thing I want to mention before I turn back to my colleague Miles to talk about the CCP's participation in this and what they're doing is, Jack, you brought up in February, I think March, talked about the heroic nature of the Chinese farmers. Remember, during the height of the pandemic in January, February, March in Wuhan and Hubei province, and we were so limited in the information that was getting out of where the pandemic was, one of the biggest concerns was that they weren't going to be able to get into the fields and plant the spring crop. Well, once again, the heroic nature of Lao Beijing, old 100 names, came through, and what they did was get into the fields and plant the spring crop. Now, unfortunately, when that crop's got to be harvested in late summer, right now you've got this massive, 1,000-year flood that's coming on that's going to threaten their entire supply chain. But Lao Beijing is being asked back by the CCP to now come back, where the PLA is not down there, to come back and actually man the levees, as you mentioned the other day, Jack. So I want to turn to my colleague, Miles Guo. Miles, here's what people can't understand. If the Chinese Communist Party built this whole system of dams and levees, right, kind of against nature, but to basically have man's hand and kind of taking the Yangtze, which is the ancient, it's one of the 5 or 6 most important rivers in the world, right? It's like the Mississippi or the Nile or the Danube. It's a major river that affects an entire country. What is the PLA? What is the CCP first? What is Beijing doing in this crisis? We've heard, and we announced the other day, they called a red alert. People in the United States don't know what red alerts are. They don't know how often they're called. So how important is it's a red alert, and what is Beijing doing to help the Chinese citizens down in the Yangtze River?
Sir, good question, sir. I'm in China. I'm born in China. I have more than 40 years in China. In my life, many times I go to same time have big flood. I go there. I donate money. I try help them. In my life, I go there anytime. I never see one time have PLA army, local government, and the central government. They seriously think can help the people, get risk. They never. You know why, brother? I want you to know this is the joke. One time I visited before the China Prime Minister Wen Jiabao. He was the 1998. Go to Yangtze River, say same fault. Go there.
He went there during a flood.
Went
also.
there.
Yeah.
So he's I'm the help you rescue you. We all the army here. We have 1 million special army here. We even we die. We want to rescue you there. I'm here. Behind how many people? 300 army, all the bodyguard. They have the 3
Hold
camera.
on. They were all the bodyguards.
All the bodyguard.
Reason he had his bodyguards.
Yes, they use the boat 3 times record, the camera. He say, no, good. You need a change. They want, food. Look at Guanabao nearly cry. All the body get dirt, and the army in the river, swimming, rescue the people, the women, the child. They make the show. Immediately gone. Go back.
You're saying this is a photo op, just
That's
a photo
op. Okay, the decoration, political decoration. Okay, that's all the fake. So after this, I asked him, why you don't send more army here?
1 minute, gentlemen.
He say, do you student? Nobody can stop the fault. We only waiting what has happened. Nobody can stop. We never prepare the army can help stop this.
There's nothing to stop a flood. Okay, we're gonna take a short commercial break. Miles has got more insights about the CCP and this horrific flood on the Yangtze River. We're gonna turn, and also America now turns to take down the CCP. What it's also like internally to China with their efforts to combat that. We're gonna return, Jack, back to you. See you in a minute.
Guys, we're going to take a commercial break here, but this is fascinating stuff. We have to understand what's going on with the Yangtze River because it's going to affect the world just like the COVID virus. Back in a minute.
War Room with Stephen K. Bannon. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
This is Jack Maxey in the War Room here from Capitol Hill, coming back for today's episode 287, Saturday, July 18th, the year of our Lord 2020. Special episode on China fighting back, America's global takedown of the CCP. Back to you, Steve.
Thank you, Jack, and thank all the team in the War Room, AVN, and everybody for putting this on. Really appreciate it. Miles, here's what I think people have a tough time comprehending. How can you have a government that presents itself to the world as all-powerful, all-knowing, very sophisticated, that they've got everything covered, whether it's global finance or whether it's manufacturing, and someone that's really putting now hundreds of billions of dollars every year and to build up a military program to challenge and to really shut down the South China Sea and the Straits of Taiwan, to send combat divisions up into occupied Tibet on the Indian border and to challenge India. Now to have, as you have told me for years and I didn't pay attention, a 25-year or 40-year deal with the mullahs in Iran, that's $400 billion, right? I'm not just buying oil, but also military equipment, and they're talking about maybe even Chinese troops deployed with Hezbollah into Syria, into the Middle East. The CCP and Xi and Wan Xishan, whether Wan Xishan's being called the most powerful man and most important man in the world by Michael Bloomberg in Singapore, and I think it was May of 2018, right? Everywhere from May of 2019 to Xi going around and being, the party at Davos, when he goes there, when he goes on these One Belt, One Road, these guys have everything under control. But when a basic fundamental situation, like a flood, a massive flood, agreed, but in the central most important river in China, one of the most important rivers in the world, that has so much of the Chinese intellectual capability, of the hardworking people, of their farmers, of agriculture production, Beijing has got to do more than just send photo ops. What is Beijing doing today? Particularly, they've got the PLA, they have a massive army, they have a stability force, which you've been able to educate me is bigger than the army, right? To keep order in the cities about what they want to do. They have every tool in the apparatus. They have the firewall, they can control information, they can control technology. We saw in the pandemic, they can shut down transportation. How can the CCP, with all that power on earth, not help the good citizens of China in the central Yangtze Valley?
Sir, I totally disagree you before you talk about this. CCP, not a technology power. CCP, all the technology is still from America. And America is the tycoon technology company because greedy help CCP make a technology power. Secondly, CCP not just money. They never create really non-perfect is the same as the GDP. This cheat America, cheat Europe, West of the world. They make it called WTO contract. Then is it get it cheat you money? That's your money, not from the CCP create money. 3, you see, they have the $400 billion in the uranium by the oil, make the deal. They have is $1.3 billion last 8 years, build one road, give the South Africa, Middle East, and it's the East Europe. This is the money not from China, not from CCP. Chinese use the blood, hard work, make the cheap project, and wear Nike shoes, sell to you America. You America like buy is cheap, very cheaper than Nike shoes, and wear. Then how about the CCP? CCP always lie. America now. China only 90 million CCP member, not 1.4 billion is all this the CCP member. But you know the 70 years, just American media don't like to talk to America and the Chinese. China only 90 million CCP member control you all the country. Also maybe top 10, top 20 family control all the China, all the market. They call we have the market weapon, threaten America, cheat Europe. You look, today is the DOJ, the BRA. Oh my God. I think that's very important. It's create a new history. BRA talk any words, and read FBI talk this, and Peter Navarro say CCP lie, Americans die. That's very important, sir. That's the truth. You need to know. CCP no capability can earn $1 trillion because 2001, before the signed WTO with America, all the China $1.3 trillion GDP. Signed WTO until now, $14 trillion GDP is from America and the West of the world.
You're saying that before they allowed the American elites and the world elites to let them into the WTO, the total GDP of the country was barely over $1 trillion. Today, 20 years later, it's $14 trillion. That all came from capital, technology, and particularly access to markets in the United States and Europe. It's essentially the money of America and the West that did this.
Sir, it is. So this is 100% true. On the other side, you see, why they don't like to pay money to go to the float? They do, help the risk group people. Sir, you must be now, they named organization is called region, CCP, communism. Still today in all the China, you see, you father, mother, not better than Xi Jinping. You father, mother, family cannot compete with CCP.
Hold on. I just want to make sure the audience understands. They say that your father and mother cannot compare to President Xi, and that your family can't compare to the CCP.
Yeah, every year, you see, in my video, just 1 week ago, they go to my Shandong hometown.
I saw your hometown. Those murals on the wall were saying that.
Everywhere is the right, CCP icon, Xi Jinping, hello. And then it's that your father, mother, not better than me, not can compare to me important.
So they're brainwashing kids from the very early stage.
This drive brainwash and, get your capability, get your dignity, wear you, take you all the money. They see even you die, not we are fall. So you fall. Because why you get the fault to kill you? Because there's a God. You are reincarnation. You die, all the reason is you. You don't give the contribution all the life, give CCP. That's you wrong, you criminal. So CCP, the philosophy is very easy. They know human rights. They don't kill people die. Do you remember Chairman Mao talking to Nixon, president? Even we want to war with America, nuclear bomb war, China is the 600 million people. We don't care, die is 300 million people. Next 3-4 years, we can make the people again. We are Chinese women, like make a baby. Do you remember that? That's the now CCP in the 70 years in China, until to now, never change. The ID knowledge and how can control the Chinese. They never think you die is a problem. You die, you die, more people die. The Chinese have philosophy, natural disaster and more people die, it can make your regime more stronger. So Wen Jiabao is go to Sichuan, is go to the 300,000 people get earthquake die. Wen Jiabao first talk, please, we are always history. Natural disaster coming can make a weak country bigger. They never say you die, I'm a people. They never. So this is the.
Hold on, they're totally indifferent. You're saying they're indifferent to the deaths of Chinese people, and if they lose 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, it's not.
They don't care. Inside example now, it's last year. They know this is Gengzi year. China very feng shui tailor. Every Gengzi year, 60 years.
You're saying a 60-year cycle.
A cycle is Gengzi year, is change the regime, kill the king, revolution. They know this is disaster year. Also, every 30 year is a fault come back, always. So they before knows maybe there's some big raining, more water, the fault, maybe kill people. They say maybe good. You know why? China too many people. We don't need to pay too much money, and as the food. I don't need to buy more food from America. They know definitely the big, 90 million members of the, regime. They know what will happen. They don't care. They just in the TV. Oh, I give you some of the water, show off. Give you some shoes. Give you 100 RMB, 1,000 RMB. They never think you die is a him problem. They never think you die is the country CCP loses the power.
If you die, it's your problem. Not the regime.
Yeah, they never always. This is a totally different sir. You talk about here, and me, and Jackie, we're room talk this. I guarantee you, more than 80% of CCP think you are crazy. They die because of the natural disaster. Not my fault. Same China, no health care, no insurance system. Yet they tell me, Mouse, they get the house. How can I give the insurance? I say, sir. 0.003% have house insurance. They know insurance because insurance.
No health care, no retirement.
One hand,
no insurance policies. Nothing.
Yeah, one hand is control all the finance. Another hand, insurance is CCP control. You die, they don't want to give you back money. They add knowledge. They think we are correct. You are stupid, America. Why you care people die? Why you care the people get forced to die? They don't care. It's the natural disaster. Xi Jinping, now all the Central Committee in the where? June, July, all in the Beidai
Hold on,
Summer River.
Beidai is the summer resort where the regime goes. They could not possibly, in this crisis, be down at the summer resort. They have a pandemic that's still going on in China and a once-in-a-thousand-year flood. They could not be down. It's impossible that they're down having vacation.
The last 8 years, do you see one time Xi Jinping, Wang Jishan, go to China for flood disaster, earthquake, Shanghai, it's the disaster coming under the coronavirus. Xi Jinping no one time go there. Wang Jishan never go there. This now maybe on the beach, a bird party, and one hand, another hand, bear the new young girls. They don't care you people to die.
You're saying anything they would do would be a photo op or just optics to make sure that people in the world media see that they care. They could care less about the Chinese people.
Yeah, sir, you need to watch the broadcast, everything. As 2 years ago, we are follows. They are from CCTV. They before every day is follow the the leaders that go to outside and make the video. It's 100% everything before make there. Okay, not the video from true. That's why America, you need to know CCP is the purple tiger.
Paper tiger.
And as the Ponzi, game.
It's a Ponzi scheme.
Ponzi is a game. You look, sir, America must be now all the China the disaster trouble, but back to you America, coronavirus more the worst China the fraud maybe. Yet today American died 951.
Almost 1,000 people.
Almost 1,000, right?
Yes.
Where from? CCP.
CCP lied. Americans died.
Yeah. Now a worse street. It's the economy. President, very scared to come down. All the American people worry the economy come down. Who behind the monopoly? CCP, right? 3. Who buy the PPE before January?
CCP.
All the world. All the PPE.
Vacuum them up from all over the world.
In the world, 90% is a mask.
1 minute.
The Wuhan. This is a fraud area. The PPE. So, sir, you must be know this game. You are trouble more the worse to China, also from CCP.
Hang on for 1 second. We're going to take a commercial break, sell some ads. We're going to have some capitalism here. Jack, back to you to take us out, and we'll see everybody in a couple of minutes with our colleague, Miles Guo.
Guys, we're going to pay some bills here with some commercials, but we want you to come back. This is a fascinating episode where we're digging deep into the issues inside China, the Yangtze River flood, and how it's going to affect you in your life. Back in just a moment.
War Room with Stephen K. Bannon. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
This is Jack Maxey sitting in the catbird seat for Stephen K. Bannon here at the Capitol Hill. And today's episode is 287, another one of our Saturday specials, Voices from China. We have Stephen K. Bannon and Miles Guo reporting. Today's episode titled Fighting Back, America's Global Takedown of the CCP. Steve, back to you.
Yeah, we're going to get back to a second about the interconnectivity. We're all nationalists, but the interconnectivity of the world's economy and how we've exposed ourselves to the Chinese Communist Party, particularly their incompetence and their corruption. Because now we've already had a biological Chernobyl. We're about to have an aquatic Chernobyl. We're about to have this horrific flood that's going to blow through the Yangtze Valley, destroy the generic pharmaceutical industry, and particularly the ability to make active pharmaceutical ingredients. Jack, we had on yesterday, one of the professors talked about what was going to kill the United States was not the pandemic. What was going to kill the United States was the financial crisis that the pandemic was exacerbating. In the next episode, in the next hour, Miles Guo is going to talk about something he's been talking about for years, but now the Wall Street Journal is grabbed onto it, a $52 trillion real estate bubble, guess where? In China, driven by the CCP. Now is the time, if there's any time for you to look at precious metals as an alternative in your investment portfolio. You've got to go to Birch Gold. Go to birchgold.com/Bannon, Bannon. Get your 20-page report today of how to include Birch Gold as a buyer of gold for you, or setting up an IRA that's got precious metals in it. You need to consider precious metals as an investment alternative in this turbulent time. And I got to tell you, folks, times are going to get much more turbulent. You can see these forces coalescing. One of the things we're doing here today on the show is talking about, finally, after 30 or 40 years, the United States has a coherent strategy under President Trump, and really what I call his war cabinet. That war cabinet would be Attorney General Barr. It would be the National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien. It would be the FBI Director Christopher Wray. It would be Mike Pompeo. Obviously, you got Ambassador Lighthizer, the trade representative. Always the fighter, Peter Navarro, is part of that. Matt Pottinger, the Deputy National Security Advisor, who speaks perfect Mandarin and gave that magnificent speech on May 4th that tied together Chinese revolutionary history to American revolutionary history. So there's so much going on, and we wanted Miles, who's really the head of the whistleblower movement inside of China, where people are coming forward every day and giving details about the CCP. And also now we're actually getting defectors out from these labs. But before I turn back to Miles, to add everything on top of things, Jack, you've been talking about not just the swine flu that killed half the hog population before the coronavirus pandemic. You've been talking about, say, hey, look, you got to focus on agriculture in China with the Chinese, right? The old 100 names of the farmers. They're very dedicated, loyal people. They're out in the fields. They went through this horrific pandemic and planted the spring crop. But you've been saying, hey, they've got something else coming. This is this locust infestation. And just now there's been stories all day on the Red Army, on the Chinese armies. Actually, I think got a massive drone air force out there to combat this. Can you get us up to speed on what's going on?
Well, what's very interesting, longtime listeners to the show would know that I've mentioned this whole thing about this locust swarm that's stretched out of Africa. It's already into India and Pakistan, and it seems that it may have leaped over the Himalayas. Right now in Yunnan province, they say that 8,000 hectares have been overwhelmed by locusts. These locusts are being treated with an army of drones, as Steve spoke about, spraying pesticides from the sky. But as we said earlier, this is very complicated because during the rainy season, these pesticides are not that effective, and the locusts lay their eggs in mud. So in 3 months' time, you have a whole new swarm of locusts. So this is something that we really need to keep an eye on. And culturally, when we talk about China, we've mentioned this concept of the loss of the mandate of heaven. If you go back in Chinese history, you have movements within the political establishment, but also there have been movements that have occurred in nature that have contributed to regime change. And locusts and floods are top of that list, so it's something worth keeping an eye on. Back to you, Steve.
One thing, Miles, I want to get back to, we've always tried to make this connection between the deplorables, the kind of backbone of America, and Lao Beijing, old 100 names. When you talk about, and now Jack's talking about locusts, we got massive flood, we've had a pandemic. In the next hour, we're going to talk about this Ponzi scheme as far as growth. Why haven't the Chinese people stood up in revolt to the CCP? I think what their American colleagues are sitting there going, obviously you're used as slave labor. Obviously you've created tremendous wealth that the elites in the world have stolen and the CCP have stolen to make them the wealthiest families in the world. Why are the Chinese people not more in a revolutionary stance to throw these bums out?
Sir, that's a good question. Chinese, I think, always try standing up, and Chinese want the revolution. Tiananmen Square, this is huge. PLA used the tank, kill the students. So because Tiananmen Square in 1989, sent me go to jail, and 22 months, they tortured me, nearly died. This time is in the world, nobody believes CCP can use the tank to kill students. But that's really happened. This happened America and international, the social. Nobody say you cannot kill.
Nobody said anything.
Nobody said anything.
Right.
Also, Americans immediately go back with the CCP. So okay, that's the gone. We are we are two country relationship continue, right?
This is very important, and we're going to roll it. But 30 days after Tiananmen, and we don't know if there's 10, 20, 30, we have no idea how many people were killed, imprisoned. I tell you what, let's get the hashtag War and Pandemic crowd in. We're going to take this over to the next hour with our guest Miles Guo to talk to us. Why are the Chinese people not stepping up and overthrowing today the CCP? Jack, back to you.
Okay, guys, we're going to take a commercial break here. We'll be back in just a few minutes. More stories from China. This is very, very important, people. This is going to affect you in the same way that the virus has affected you. The world is connected, and we need to secure ourselves. Back in a minute.